Okay, I've just joined a tournament within the late registration period, which is what I always do. So there's the tournaments that I play are 50K buy-in, and they have a 5 minute uh, late registration period. So I wait till that starts and then I join. So the tournament's going to resume soon. And the reason I do that is so that I don't have to it gives me a better chance of making the money, i.e., finishing in a place that's a paid place. And so just I've done it a lot, and it works out well for me. I have an average of 42% of the time I make the money, which is pretty good. So this will start soon, and I decided not to have music in this one because I uploaded my first video to YouTube, and there's a slight issue with a copyright issue where they said that it couldn't be my video couldn't be seen in some countries. They didn't say which ones, but anyway, I'll try to have enough content on what I'm talking about to make this interesting, but we shall see. Um, so yeah, okay, they've started up again. So I'm in the big blind, which is a forced bet, and I have a what's affectionately known as a hammer. The very worst hand in in poker is a seven deuce off, in Hold'em is a seven deuce offsuit, and that's what I have. So I fold that with extreme prejudice, and so this is a multi-table tournament, so it's not like a cash game where that's one table with people around it and you get to know their styles. What happens in multi-table tournaments is they keep shifting you around, so your opponents change all the time. Not constantly, but periodically. So you can't get a read on people and then use that to your advantage necessarily, because you're going to be moved to another table with other players that you don't know how they play. So now I'm in the small blind. That's what happens. The dealer button goes around the table, and so everyone gets hit with the big blind and the small blind. Typically, the small blind is, oh, sorry, I should say the big blind is double the small blind. So 9-6 offsuit is not good. So I don't have to. I folded without. Okay, then so this Amsterdam guy has raised it up. Uh, so yeah, the blinds are what without the blinds, these tournaments would last a longer time. So they do two things. They give. Oh my God! I another hammer. What is going on? Two hammers in the first three hands. Like we're in the third hand, so they say I have to play two. They give you lots of. PokerStars gives you lots of things to click on to check things. Anyway, I'm folding that one. Well, what I'm trying to say about the blinds is that they give some people something, and there's antes too. So these tournaments that I play, I'll show you on the other screen. You can't see. I forgot. But right now the blinds, the antes are 12. The blinds are 60. The small blind is 60, and the big blind is 120. So on these tournaments that I typically play, you 5 times the ante is the small blind, and 10 times the ante is the big blind. They have other tournaments where it's not that same ratios, but that's typically what it is for the ones that I play. And the reason they have antes and blinds is so that there's always something to play for, and they escalate the blinds, meaning as time goes by, they get larger. So the small the big always stays twice what the small one is, and the antes go up too. So the small blind is always 5 times whatever the current ante is, and the big blind is 10 times what the current ante is. So I've been getting some shit hands here, but that's what you learn to do. You fold, and you fold again, and just to spite people, you fold some more. Uh, but then when you get a good hand, you got to put your foot on the gas. So this is a hand I'll call with because it's ace, a suited ace. All right, so sometimes it feels bad to fold, but sometimes you just got to, and you get feels for people, and so some people are just so if everyone else folds, I might call this, but if someone else calls, I'll fold. Yeah, so if someone else calls, so I'll fold. I don't want to be up against two people. I want to just, and that's again what happens very often when you fold. The flop comes out and you go, shit, I should have stayed in. But so right now I would have had a two pair aces and tens and with a flush draw. So so we won't find out if it's a flush because we never got to showdown. But so yeah, I haven't been getting very good hands, but you can't expect good hands all the time, but you just need to know how to act when you get them. And so so right now, so there are 375 people, 375 entries, but that doesn't mean that they're all individual people because of the rebuy option. So there were 299 people who entered, and 76 of them, and there's 76 re-entries. So that gives you the total of 375. So the reason I wait until the late registration period has started is, well, actually, I said that the late registration period is longer than 5 minutes, but it ends with a 5-minute break. So what I do is I wait till the 5-minute break starts, which is still legal to join then within that 5 minutes. But by waiting until then, I don't have to play my first hand until after uh, the late registration period ends. So I'll always start out with 1500. Okay, I don't want to put all my chips in. That'll be my tournament life. So I'll fold that one. So okay, now I've got a good hand finally, and it's a great thing to get a good hand in the big blind because no one typically expects you to. It's a forced bet, so it's in a way it kind of disguises what you have because you didn't put it in of your own volition. If I were in another position where I wasn't in a blind and I bet, then people would know I had a pretty good hand. But since I had the force bet, okay, so I'm going to raise this up because I have two people here, and I might scare one of them away. Oh, I didn't scare. I don't. Oh, now I have three queens, so I've got a full house, queens full of fives. So that's how they call it. The ones that have the three, you say that, and then the full of is the second one. So I'll bet 160 because I want them to come along. If I bet too big, they just won't put it, they'll fold and I won't get as much money. So it's called a value bet when you do something like that. So I was, okay, even my value bet didn't work. But if I had bet more, it certainly wouldn't have worked unless they thought I was bluffing. Sometimes people will figure if you go all in that you might be bluffing. It's what they call a polarizing bet, where you either have it or you don't, and it's hard. And so people try to just do a read on you, and it's hard to do a read. Okay, let's see. I don't want to spend 240 on this, so I'm gonna, even though I have a decent looking hand, so I'm gonna fold this. So after you've played a while, you just kind of you can almost make snap decisions because you have this whole history of playing other hands for years. I mean, playing poker for years. So you don't really have to think all that hard sometimes, which is nice. But it won't help me to give these videos without trying to do some thinking so I can tell you how I play. So anyway, here I will wait till it comes around. If all of these people fold, I will jump in. But if one or two, if just one calls, I'm gonna fold. Okay, well that's a clear fold because I'm not gonna go all in for that. And so I start out with 1,500 chips, so I've picked up 68. But your stack goes up and down all the time, so shouldn't get too happy when it's a big stack, and too sad when it's a small stack. Because some of the best tournaments I've had are ones where I've been near the bottom, but I just keep living, and you get a chip infusion every now and then, and it's kind of like flying under the radar, where the big stacks. Sometimes it's good to have a small stack with big stacks because then, if you go all in, they figure, oh well, that small stack must really have a good hand, or possibly so. You can sometimes it's counterintuitive, but sometimes a small stack can scare off a big stack, but not if there are too many big stacks. Uh, so I'm got Logorrhea here, but okay. So this is an suited ace, and that's good. So I have to. You gotta. Oh, okay. I did a mistake there. I thought it was my turn to act. So this guy came in with 600 when I thought I was calling this 400. So that was kind of silly of me. You got the software gives you the option to do pre-moves, like pre-actions before it actually comes up to you. So you have to be careful of that, because sometimes you think you're clicking on something and then it changes underneath you and you clicked on something else. So I was trying to just call that 400 earlier and I screwed up, probably because I was talking. But it can happen when you, so the safest thing to do is always wait till it gets to you to make your action. But I often pre do click on something earlier. So here I'm not in good position, so I'm folding. When you're in the dealer button, then you're guaranteed after the first betting round, you're guaranteed to always be the last one to bet, and it's called being in position. Being in position is a really huge bonus, and so you can scare people off if everyone folds around to you, unless there is such a thing called a check fold, where people check to not show their strength, and then if anyone else bets, they raise it up, and so there are all sorts of strategies. But in general, it's a good thing to be in the dealer position where you're the last to act, because then you have the most information of anyone at the time. So the ones who acted before you didn't have complete information about what people were going to bet. When you're in the dealer button, you know already exactly what everyone did. You're the last to act, so you can make a more informed decision. And it goes around the table, so you get to be a dealer. You get the advantage of acting last one time per orbit. An orbit is when the dealer button goes around the table one time. And because so right now the blinds had started off at, what was it, 12 and 60 and 120. Right now it's up to the ante's 25 and the small blinds 125 and the big blinds 250. So it's escalating up. So I'm not in a super bad position, but I'm not in that great a shape either. It's you don't know until you find out what you get. So, but it does pay to be patient, because a lot of players on this site, maybe it's because it's play money. I don't know, but they just are impatient, and they put all their chips in on really marginal hands sometimes, and so really it's better not to go all in. It's better to because you can get more money that way, more chips if sometimes if you just call. And I mean, they're all different sort of strategies, and the different strategies can work or not work, and they won't work all the time, and they won't fail all the time. So it really depends on who you're playing against and how they are playing, and so that's why it's harder to get a feel for the table in multi-table tournaments because the cast of characters changes. But okay, so right now it's coming around. 10-9 is offsuit is not very good either. But everyone else folded. So since when you're heads up, so that means I'm heads up against this guy, so I'm going to call. Because any two cards can, all right. So if a jack comes, if he doesn't bet too hard, I'll stay in to hope for get a straight with a jack. So, but that's called a gut shot straight because it's only one card could do it. So there's other straights that are straight draws, which are open-ended, where two cards could do it on either end. But oh, now I got what you might consider to be called a suited hammer. I don't think people do that, but seven deuce is a hammer, seven deuce offsuit. So seven deuce suited, it's still a shit hand, but I don't know if it actually qualifies to be called a hammer. But if so, this is my third hammer of the. And now here's something called pot committed. So I only have 83 chips. I was forced to put 25. What's I forced? Yeah, I was in the big blind. So you got to call that. You got to put chips in when it's your only viable option. So I'm probably going to end this tournament in less than a minute. This hand will be my last hand, I'm pretty sure, unless I get somehow a miracle straight. That's not going to happen. If I get a 7 on the river, then I have a chance, but that's a very remote chance. And someone could still have an 8, and that would beat me. If a 7 hit, I'd have two pair 10s and 7s. So no, an ace hit. So I'm gonzo. I'm 100% sure. But anyway, I always try to do better than half the field or half the entries. So there are 375 entries. So I did that here. So, and here you'll see it's throwing up. It says, no, it's if it were before the late registration period, it would have given me the option on this window here to rebuy, but I never rebuy, and I never have the option to rebuy because of the way I enter the tournaments. So that's it for now, and I'll see you again later.